The South African Social Security Agency has this morning issued a statement saying that it's experiencing problems with the payout of Social Security grants at some of its cash pay points. Let's talk about this now with spokesperson for Sassa, Paseka Letsatsi. Mr. Letsatsi, always good to have you on Newzroom Afrika. So you say you're experiencing a problem that's now going to have the grant recipients have to go to grocery chains, basically, to withdraw this money because of challenges beyond Sassa's control. What are these challenges?
Good afternoon, and thanks for having us. I hope it's afternoon. Basically, I would be very careful because I don't want to speak on behalf of the South African Post Office, but we can safely say the problem of cash flow with the South African Post Office, which is disbursing grants on behalf of the South African Social Security Agency. And the Post Office has indicated that they are experiencing that particular problem wherein they would not be able to pay that money. Hence, as an organization, we had to come up with contingency measures because these are Sassa clients, and Sassa clients, we need to make sure that we disperse the grants to them. Hence, we have requested that all those who get grants from Post Office or the 350 from the Post Office must make sure that they use whatever available infrastructure to make sure that they access their money. In this instance, they can go to USAID, they can go to Checkers, they can go to ShopRite, they can go to Boxer to make sure that they access that money, or they can go to the bank of their choice.
Am I right to say that this is a problem that extends well beyond the people who are currently receiving the 350 social relief of distress grant? Is it an across-the-board problem?
It is. You are quite right. It also affects certain people who are getting money at Post Office, like pay points. Remember, Post Office would then have pay points where people go physically to get money. And we are saying they are also affected, but SAPO and Sassa have come up with measures to make sure that if there's a pay point where people are affected, they can be transferred with transport to make sure that they access what is due to them. But those who are getting the social grants, we are saying to them, they've got cards. That card operate like any other bank card. They can access their money at the bank of their choice. They can access money at the merchants, which makes life very easy for them.
Are you able to give us a number as far as the people who are likely affected by this issue?
The number of people who are likely to be affected is about 200,000 of them.
200,000 people. And how long before this problem is resolved? Because not everyone in South Africa lives next to a major retailer where they are able to go in and access this money. And as we know, people who are dependent on the social security system often don't have alternative means of getting money.
We just do the contingency now to make sure that people do not find themselves moving from point A to point B trying to get the money. And we think in the process, both parties will come together and ensure that a permanent solution is arrived at, because we can't have this situation continue in the next payment cycle. As we see TS management of Sassa, we're engaging with the Post Office and other relevant stakeholders to make sure that this matter is resolved once and for all. I can assure you, we don't want to go in the next payment cycle experiencing these particular problems.
So are you also, in your contingency planning, looking at alternative longer-term measures to avoid a repeat of this situation and the frustration in the next payment cycle?
Definitely. But we're saying currently, because we know that all these other merchants are all over, perhaps we can engage beyond the pool that we have to say, in terms of those remote rural areas, these are the problems and how can we intervene, how can we partner with other people and so on to make sure that the conditions of those people who stay in those areas are not made worse off. We are committed to make sure that these are the clients of Sassa, and we need to make sure that they are protected at all costs.
As you say, these are Sassa clients. The idea when social grants were moved to the South African Post Office was the whole point around making it easier, especially and more affordable, for the social grant system to run. Now, if this is already experiencing issues, what are the obligations of the Post Office to yourselves as Sassa and ultimately the beneficiaries who are dependent on this service?
Look, Tembeki, I think there are contractual issues which must be resolved. There must be an implementation of what we have agreed upon. But obviously there will be some problems on the way, and we need to make sure together as partners how we are not going to make sure that those who are supposed to get their money find themselves stranded. That's the most important matter. And I think as an organization, it is our intention to make sure that we caution those who are the most vulnerable sector of our society. And I think where we are spending sleepless nights to make sure that we do not allow this thing to continue. But I think it will also be important to make it for me not to cross the red line and start speaking about the South African Post Office, because I'm here representing Sassa. So it will be important for me to say, as an organization, we are basically committed to make sure that what is a number one priority is to make sure that our client is not inconvenienced and our client gets what is due to them. That is what is preoccupying us as the management of the South African Social Security currently.
Paseka Letsatsi will chase down the post office to get more clarity on those contractual issues. For now, thank you very much for the update from Sassa's side.